Hi everyone, so welcome to the next episode of Real Estate Ramblings. Homebuyers and future homebuyers, this video is all for you. So the other day I was thinking to myself, what is the most common trait that I have seen in almost every real estate transaction? And that is emotion. Now, at the end of the day, I preach that the real estate transaction is a business deal and it should be completely emotion free, but that is almost virtually impossible because we're human beings with hearts and feelings and we get mad over things. So it's okay. But what I have found that at least on the buyer side, is that the biggest emotion they tend to have are fears. They've got a fear, really, at the end of the day, of losing out on this home that they have fallen in love with and that they have now submitted an offer on. And they're under contract and they're afraid that it's going to fall apart. So I have broken down the 6 most common fears that occur with a buyer during the transaction that would then lead to them worried about losing the house completely. So the first one is a difficult seller. Now the good news is in my 4 years, I have only worked with maybe 2 or 3 really difficult sellers, and only one of them was an absolute jerk. So remember, your agent is working for you. It's their job to not only to represent you, but to fight for you. So don't be afraid to let them know that you are upset with the seller, you're offended by the seller, whatever it is. And maybe, they have an idea on how they can make you feel better about it, but also maybe a way that everybody can get the seller to be a little bit kinder, maybe a little bit more calmed down. I'll give you an example. Recently, I was working with a buyer and the seller was a little hard for everybody to handle, but I asked the permission of the listing agent and I actually was able to speak with the seller on the phone. I gave him my phone number and an email and I said, if it would make you feel better, please give me a call. I want you to be as comfortable as possible and get everybody to the closing table. And what do you know, it works. He and I talked for a long time. We had a great conversation and I feel like that was in the best interest of my client. So don't be afraid to ask your realtor to go the extra mile if you're dealing with a difficult seller. Number 2 would be difficult negotiations. Now, the other thing I've really learned is that everybody wants to feel like they're walking away from the real estate transaction and they are walking away winning something, right? So I guess the key bit of advice I would have for you is to not be an unreasonable negotiator. Don't ask your realtor, well, you can if you want, but don't ask them to ask for everything. I mean, you can, but the chances are that you're not going to get everything and you're going to put a bad taste in the seller's mouth. So be reasonable with your demands, your request in the offer. And remember, it's still kind of a seller's market. If the house is beautiful, if it's an incredible house and you want it, don't be unreasonable and be willing to work through the negotiations. Number 3 would be cost. So my biggest bit of advice to you is come to this whole real estate transaction with a lot of spare cash on hand. Remember, you've got not only your down payment, your closing costs, the cost of an appraisal, the cost of an inspection, the cost of potentially a specialty inspection like an electrician, a plumber, an air conditioning company, but also you're going to want to probably fill your new home up with maybe some new furniture or new decor, new art, get a new light fixture. I don't know, but just come to this whole thing with extra cash on hand so you are not counting every penny. And the second part of this really is to not put an offer in on a home at the very top of your price range. Maybe try to stick somewhere in the middle of your price range, because if you do that, you're not going to be enjoying yourself and you're going to be watching every little penny. So The next one is, let's see, number 4, losing financing. So here, the best way to combat this fear would be to not put in this incredible offer. And what I mean by that is, if you see a home and they are asking $300,000 for it, your agent says, yep, I think it's worth about $300,000. Maybe we could go in at $290,000, $295,000. But you say, no, I love this house so much. And you say, I want to put in an offer for $330,000. Well, the bad news is you're going to have to get an appraisal done. And the appraisal might come in low. Then you might lose your financing, possibly, if you don't have that extra money to make up the difference. So be realistic when you're making those offers. And then the other part of this is to don't go out and spend a lot of money during the transaction. Don't go open new credit cards. Don't go buy a new car. Don't get fired. Don't quit your job. Don't switch jobs. Like, they want to see stable employment. The lender does. So remember, you really have to watch your spending behaviors, your financial behaviors during this entire process. The next one would be a bad appraisal. So this goes back to what I said earlier, really, but try to put in a reasonable offer. Even if you love the home and you are worried about your offer, not standing out in a slew of other offers, make sure you put in a reasonable offer, and then maybe just don't ask for them to pay for your closing costs. Maybe don't ask for them to purchase a buyer's home warranty for you. So keep things realistic. Remember, you've always got to get through an appraisal. The next one would be, and this is actually the last one, a bad inspection. So this is, I feel like the thing that gets my buyers the most nervous is going through, it's called the option period in the state of Texas, but going through that inspection period. Remember, it is the job of a home inspector to come through and pick the property apart in every way possible. They're going to come in with a fine-tooth comb and split hairs. So don't be freaked out when you see certain things on the inspection. They're supposed to be there. If there weren't little things like leaves in a gutter, yes, that's something that will come up, then the inspector would not be doing his job. The important thing is to really focus on the major systems of a home. Those would be the HVAC system, the heating, ventilation, and cooling system, the roof, the foundation, the plumbing, the electrical, the water heater. Those are the things that I always advise my clients to really focus the most on. So I hope that this video gave you some advice, gave you some value on how to squash any sort of fears that you may have that I listed next time you are buying a home. And as always, if you have a real estate need, if you have a real estate question, please reach out, call, text, send a message on Facebook, or leave a comment below, and I would love to help you out and earn your business someday. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.